You brought this up yesterday as well, but the minus armor, it gets more effective as the armor gets closer to 0, right? So you're definitely going to get to 0 just with the little shredder alone, but you add the gush on top of that, and then you're looking at the minus armor, and that's when things become excruciatingly painful for whoever's experiencing that minus armor. So I do like the way they're laning this out for OB.Neon. I think Snapfire Tide is already a very, very powerful lane, and you don't really care too much about the Pos 5 Disruptor either, right? I guess maybe the Snapfire cares a little bit going against that because the Thunderstrike is kind of annoying. The Tide doesn't care. The Tide's fine with it. It's fine. Winter Wyvern Pos 5 as well. Another lane-dominant hero here for OB.Neon in the safe lane. And we saw this pattern last game. They seem to be drafting heroes that just win you the lane. Now, obviously, last game it didn't really work out. But it does seem it's going to be quite important against a team like Boom Esports to just have those very lane-dominant heroes. Unfortunately for OB.Neon, they're against the FBZ Mars now, arguably one of his best, if not his best hero, and they're also against the Phoenix, which makes matters even spicier for Boom Esports.
Yeah, it really does. I think that does mean it's likely we're seeing the Monkey King on pause 1 here for CTM instead. So Scam Monkey King coming through, possibly Yopaj if he does feel confident. But I think you already set up for a good lane. Monkey King against Tide, you can kind of just use your melee range to hit from pretty far. And even if the Tide has all that minus attack damage with the Anchor Smash, durability with his Kraken Shell, you don't really care. You just whack away, build up your Jingu stacks, go to work. And it's going to be a pretty good lane for CTM in the end. Mars Phoenix lane, I mean, not even the lane, just a combination. Egg Arena to protect is sickening. That and Static Storm, Kinetic Field. You have so much AoE control from Boom, but I think Neon's set up to kind of play against that. They've got Winter's Curse to counteract a big team fight. They've got Ravage. They've got Kisses. So it's a good change from game 1 where we were seeing a severe lack of team fight from Neon's draft. Like they had Viper, they had Nyx, and Enchantress. It was really the Nyx that had to really set up the team fights. We never saw Hustler manage to farm up into the Ags timing quick enough, and I think Neon's just fixing their draft a lot better. They get the Terrorblade now as well, so a really big win condition for them to play with. A very comfy hero for Palos to run as well. We've seen him play the Terrorblade a couple of times now, and it does give him good scaling. So I think Neons have managed to work a much more balanced draft. For the Phoenix as well, Terrorblade rips through it. They already have the Snapfire from first pick to Lil Shredder, the early egg. As long as they find a position relative to the arena, I think they can kind of hold up against Boom's run and gun here.
They certainly can. Final pickouts to come though. We've got a couple bans, of course. Both mid lane is currently lacking. Going back to the Phoenix pick, by the way, John, very interesting to pick that into the Snapfire. I'm sure you kind of already brought this up, but it's... Yeah, you kind of picked it into the counter, so it seems like they just don't care whatsoever. Intriguing to see how that works out later on. Unless we're seeing something crazy like mid-Phoenix coming out for Yopaj. And by the way, John, I still have very fond memories of when Phoenix was somewhat of a mid-hero at one stage. Because everyone's frame of mind around Phoenix was it needs levels, it's got busted damage. You know, basically you used to Icarus dive Fire Spirits and somebody would be dead. Instant. Like there was no question. You were killing somebody no matter what. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a mid-Phoenix though, John. Those days are over, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably not. I remember those days as well where you'd rush Radiance Phoenix. You remember that, Mike?
Ah, yes.
I remember.
Yes. It was either that, that was off-lane Phoenix and mid-Phoenix. I mean, either way you used to go the Veil build-up as well, right? Because the Veil was just so ridiculously efficient with a hero like Phoenix who has all magic damage. Speaking of Veil, I feel like it's a very strong item right now that doesn't get enough respect. Still Boom Esports. They'll go for the Storm Spirit mid. Fair enough. Hero did receive a couple nerfs as of late, but still Storm Spirit. Still pretty busted in its own way. OB.Neon, obviously they get to see what the enemy mid's going to look like. Any particular picks you'd like to see coming out here from OB.Neon?
Boom has kind of banned out all the big Jamesy heroes. Lena's gone, Quap's gone, Void Spirit's gone, all of these heroes Jamesy excels at. No Ember Spirit's wall as Neon banned that out. I'm not sure. It's really limited right now on the mid. Maybe a Kunkka. Like that could tie in for Neon's draft in terms of team fights, sustain, giving him a way of holding out on the fights a bit longer as well. We've seen JMC play the Kunkka as well previously beforehand on mid.
Oh.
They go to Leshrac instead, so they're going all in on this huge AoE damage, huge magic damage coming through, and playing a push tempo draft. They have a really strong early timing that can scale into late game, and I think that does improve Neon's chances. They have an avenue to play aggressive and fight against Neon's own really aggressive playstyle early on.
No, I certainly agree. I don't think the Leshrac's too bad of a pick. It does decently well against the Storm Spirit. Like, you'd imagine the Leshrac should have somewhat of an advantage in the 1v1 matchup. I get a little bit concerned going into the Monkey King as the Lesh, because you tend to want to be close to people, and Monkey King enjoys being close to people as well. We'll see how it all pans out. It's still two very intriguing drafts here from either side. Jonathan, do you favor one of them? Do you think one draft is superior to the other?
I think on paper, the drafts are really even. I would give Boom a slight edge. I think their scaling towards late game is a lot... It's a little better. It's not much, because Terrorblade late game is also a beast. But as you scale into the late game for Boom, your options for the Storm to go into Ags is still there. Disruptor can get Ags to cancel out and mute, grab that AoE Doom, and that can make it really hard for Neon to play into. For Neon, I think their emphasis on early game's a lot stronger, so we will have to see them fix up that aggression, fix up their lanes. If they can get that done, if they start pushing high ground by 20-25 minutes, they're at a really good pace there.
All right. Well, we're into game 2. We'll switch over to the screen and hope to God that somebody else is not in charge of the camera this time. And what's the bet, John? Now that the camera is indeed working properly, what's the bet we won't have a 5v5 level 1 matchup between these two teams?
Prepare for battle.
Well, looks like OB.Neon's looking to run up. Wait. All chat.
I need some translations, John. Give me the translations.
Okay, Yopaj is saying, I hope you're happy, Enryu, Roy. You kicked all of us. And Enryu's like, haha, you guys are full of yourselves. And Yopaj is like, I miss you. Abeng's like, new CEO of Neon Esports is Jin Mari Pakana.
Who's that?
Enryu's like, you're crazy. And Yopaj is like, it's on stream. You have such a foul mouth, Enryu.
I think these players have realized you and I translate everything now, and they're just so comfortable to start all chatting every single time. That's what I've noticed, John. These players, they used to be so shy and quiet until they realize that we have a translator in johnxfire now, and they feel more than happy to start saying anything they want. You're not safe, ladies. Yeah. I mean, the players out there, you're not safe. Don't say anything you shouldn't say on stream. John will translate it and snitch on you. He'll do anything.
I got it. It's an alt chat, it's free real estate for everyone.
Yeah, especially your
everyone's got to
Pash.
know.
You are trying to steal all the sponsors from the area, I've heard, John, so your Pash has to be very careful, because you are looking to take that role off him.
The battle begins.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were having lobby chat from game 1, Yopaj was asking about his internet carrier. He said, so-and-so company. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then he asked me, are you going to pay for my internet now, John? I'm like, what are you talking about? You've got the sponsors, Yopaj. You're the guy getting free burgers. You're the guy getting shouted out by the PC shops here. What do you mean I'll pay for your internet? Come on.
Oh yeah, but he's a cheeky young man that Yopaj is. Oh goodness me. You never know, you might get a burger sponsorship, John. Well, we just tried to get you a toothpaste sponsorship. Not sure how well that's gonna work. I mean, your teeth are nice, John. They're not perfect.
Fair. What is perfect is the start from Neon. They're going for a trial lane hide.
And is in trouble and should... Oh, that's a great balance strike from CTM. That might buy enough time for Hyde to get out. He does eat a Fairy Fire, and it is indeed going to be enough. Really, really nice balance strike there from CTM. Just putting a stop in the tracks of OB.Neon, and it was just enough time.
Yeah, just to walk into the tree line, into the tower, to get that regen, to get the armor up. And that kind of messes with OB.Neon's level 1. You go for a little Shredder, you want to find First Blood, you have to split up your Winter Wyvern back up top. CT, I'm sure he's kind of slowing down by level 1 Boundless. He hits level 2 now, so he could just go for the Primal Spring, he could go for the Jingu, which he does go for. So he can start getting stacks up and hold that lane just fine. No pressure from the Tide. And the matchup, again, favoring Monkey because he doesn't care for Tide's armor or his Anchored Smash too much.
Interestingly enough as well, John, neither of these heroes on OB.Neon starting with a Magic Stick against the Disruptor. So maybe just not really feeling like it's that worth at level 1. But, with a Thunderstrike spam, you generally want to go down that route if you can. Still, we'll have a look at the other lanes as well. Of course, mid lane, Yopaj against Jamesy. In fact, we might have a kill here. Yopaj, he's getting active. Jamesy going to try and turn here with the split earth, and it should be enough to allow him to get away. And I said the Leshrac should have the advantage somewhat. Turns out Yopaj disagrees.
No, I think for Lesh, you have the advantage in the sense that you have pretty easy wave clear, but when it comes to control and trying to harass out the enemy laner, Yopaj can leverage that really well. We've seen this with Storms. You hit level 3, drop a Remnant, get the overload off, vortex them up into the Remnant, get another overload off, and that damage is just nearly unplayable. JMC is secure with an early stick, so he's going to be protected from those dives, but he has to focus on the CS, just really build up the farm to get that snowball, get the levels up on Lesh to get the push going.
Absolutely. Just over in oh, never mind that. A Vortex comes out. Jamesy, he'll be fine. I should have stayed up top or maybe down bot where Enryu ends up going down again here to CTM and hide, and now Hustler is not going to be too safe. Does manage to just run through the tree line and give himself enough time to get out, but I suppose they already got the bigger target in the Enryu Tide.
Yeah, it's again a big kill. You're slowing down Enryu's timings. We've seen what happens when Enryu gets off to a slow start. I think the Tide's a safer hero to kind of die on, although it's never a good sign, but the Tide can kind of catch up a bit better, and you always have presence with Ravage. So even with that early death, I think Enryu's still fine as long as he soaks EXP and gets that steady build-up. As long as he's not being shoved out of lane entirely, he will still have an avenue to build up farm and have some impact in the game.
We'll have a look at the top lane as well, John. The last lane we haven't really discussed yet. You've got FBZ there, of course, along with Tims on his Phoenix against a Beng and Palos on the TB Winter Wyvern. So far, things are looking great for Palos, 20-3 in terms of CS. Is there a point where you start to get a little bit worried here for OB.Neon in this top lane, or do you feel like the free farm should continue? In fact, hold that thought, because bot lane, they are going to find Hyde. So they do get the Disruptor kill, but back to the question, John. How does OB.Neon deal with this lane? In fact, never mind, I think they're about to answer. FBC almost dropping on the Mars.
I think the combination of Winter Wyvern and TB is really strong. It's hard to zone out. They're ranged. When Metamorphosis is up, you can't easily land your spear combo. You don't have setup for that with a Phoenix support. So you can't really just hammer in someone, get your combination off, and harass them out. As long as you pop Meta and line that up with your Arctic Burn use, you can get the ton going out. For Neon, they just have to watch when Metamorphosis settles, they don't have much presence.
Well, they don't seem to care about it at all right now. Palos needs to run with the spear. Off the mark from FBZ, a very rare mistake to see from the FBZ Mars. And had he landed that, that probably would have amounted to a kill. But it was not meant to be. Meanwhile, Pod CTM picks up Hustler. They still get a snap-fire kill across the map. And a bit unfortunate to miss out on the Palos kill at top lane.
Yeah, would have been really big to slow down that Terrorblade. I think you can kind of be fine with it. You're not dying as much up top for Boom compared to Neon on their own offlane, so you'll take that trade. You're not slowing down the TB, but your Monkey King getting a lot more from his lane, and that kind of balances it out. I think for Palos, the scary point is like level 6 Mars. Honestly, like when the arena's up, you will definitely always land the spears. But at that point, Palos should be rotating into jungle. So I don't think it's going to be too tough, and that does set a good message for OB.Neon. They've got one stable core building up, although down mid, Jamesy.
In trouble, Tims with a nice rotation with Icarus dive out. Jamesy has been slowed down. Yopaj can't quite get the job done, or never mind, he can. Last hit just barely within range. Not only do you get a full bottle there with Tim's rotation, but just the level 1 Icarus dive proving to be enough slow to kill off the Leshrac.
Yeah, they just get the rotations on point, and it's a scary sign when Yopaj gets this kind of start in the storm and Hustler.
Yeah, nice rotation, Hustler, but it looks like he is set to fall. Hyde, he'll take that kill. So, not the greatest rotation in the year.
Yeah, and again, you're feeding kills into Yopaj here, Mike. You're giving this Storm the avenue to find that early Orchid, to get aggressive early, without even leaving the lane. Like, Yopaj is just holding mid, farming up. You're rotating top, though.
Yeah, FBZ could be in a spot of danger here. A lot of damage being dealt. Tims, he's going to try and help out with the Fire Spirits. FBZ, he's going to walk out of there. Bang, put your hand down, sir. This is not the time. Tims, he's got Icarus Dive available, so he's going to be just fine to Icarus Dive out. I suppose on the brighter side for OB.Neon, it is still a lot of free farm here for Palace.
Yeah, they're holding that lane. Palos hits his level 6 early. Mars Arena's not going to be out to pressure anytime soon. So you've got this early start. 45 to 11 CS for Palos. He can dip into the jungle if need be. He doesn't really have the best angle to shove out this lane yet. Metamorphosis fading soon, so a full push isn't going to burn out yet. However, bot.
Yeah, Hustler in a bit of danger, and Ryu going to be cookied in, but now he's the one in danger. CTM going to get the Jingu, but doesn't have the balance. It's now Jamesy. He'll rotate over. They're only going to find Hyde on the Disruptor. But I suppose for Jamesy, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's a pickup. You'll get any pick-off you can take. The side of Neon are still in a good position. CTM's pretty low, and if they kill with creep, they'll have Ravage.
Oh, not with the Balor Strike though, John. He's full HP again. He hit both heroes and now wants to try and chase down Enryu. I'm not sure if he has enough to get this kill, but he is diving real deep for this. In fact, now it's on the Hustler. CTM, I think you might need to back off now, sir. And he will.
Yeah, just zones them out. So kind of a mirror situation of up top, right? Where we saw Palos trying to be aggressive, doesn't find a kill. CTM this time doesn't line up, sacrifices his support, but gets his own free farm in this bot lane, and it equalizes that Terrorblade start. If you look at net worth, it's really even across the top 3 cores, but 2 of those 3 cores are still on Boom. Number 1 is Palos, but the Terrorblade does need more farm than the Monkey King to have that early presence. So that is a trade-off. Like, even if your TV gets this free farm, he is still looking at a 15 to 20 minute timer, whereas a Monkey King could be online by 10, 12 if you get an early Echo Saber up.
Oh, nice rotation. They scan out Yopaj taking the stacks. This could be great timing if they can take those creeps away, but Yopaj, he's going to farm everything. He's got it in time, and he's going to zip away, get aggressive onto the Winter Wyvern. Can he really get this kill on his own? He's going to try, but no, the Cookie's there in time. They'll turn it around, and they've got the Storm. The rotation pays off in the end. OB.Neon, they should be very happy with that.
Yeah, it's a big kill, the biggest core kill you could hope for at this point, and they should be able to kind of take control in that jungle. They drop a good Obs ward here on Neon's side, so they can contest even further if more stacks are built up, keeping track of that. They do lose Obbing up top. That is the arena drop from FBZ. Not the biggest kill for that, however.
Down towards the bot lane. Hyde, he's going to survive. CTM's getting aggressive against the Metamorphosis TV, and he might just have it.
Doesn't have Sunder.
He doesn't have Sunder. Palos. He's going to be okay. Oh, CTM, he's having a look around. Now rotation in Yopaj. He's got Jamesy, but it's a lot of damage flying out. Ravage going to be there. CTM, he may have indeed gone too far, and he has. Jamesy, he will be able to take another kill on the Leshrac. And this game around, it's a much closer matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, it goes back to draft. Neon has a lineup that can play early while buying space out for their pause. One, they're doing a good job of counteracting that aggression coming through from Boom. What we need to see from Neon next, though, Mike, is a bit of a push. They've gotten maxed out Edict here. All tier 1s are still standing. They've got to find the lane, melt it down to buy even more space for them to keep building up.
OB.Neon.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Good start
attack.
with this draft. Slight net worth lead their way. Boom. Gonna make their rotations up top now. They want to start focusing down that top tier 1 tower. They realize it's not going to be quite as easy of a game as last time around. In the meantime, you look back at Palos on this Terrorblade. He's doing a fantastic job thus far of just farming up very
Dire's
effectively.
top tower is under attack.
Top of the net worth board. 5.1k in the bank account. See what he can get done with this kind of farm.
Dire's top tower
Obviously,
has
he's
fallen.
nowhere near being able to be ready to fight. We saw him against CTM. He just could not sustain the amount of damage CTM was pumping out already. But later on, you can have faith that this Terrorblade should just take over the game.
Yeah, he can leverage his Metamorphosis, leverage that extra damage. He's got great EHP because of his stat scaling. So all the strength he does pick up from items just amplify his durability by a massive amount. OB.Neon are sort of clumping down bot now, looking for a bit of a push onto their first tier 1. Jamesie's there with the Edict. It's only Tim showing up, but he does have Egg. If they mass TP, they could fight.
They could. is a bit of a smoke rotation coming in from Boom, but they are going to lose that tier 1 tower. It looks like they just want to try and force some kind of fight out. Here come the TPs now. We've got CTM making his way over. Jamesy, he's going to miss out on the stun. Sunray will be there. Tim's dropping low, but not quite low enough to actually get the egg off in time. The Gush does not connect with the Scatter Blast, or rather the little Shredder is going to be there. CTM now, he's going to drop as well. It's not a great team fight for the side of Boom Esports, but it's not too bad either. Hustler should eventually just die. Curse going to do absolutely nothing. There's a bang. It's going to run into the tree line. An arena. Oh, it's going to break the trees, even around the arena. And another tip out here against FBC. So not the greatest team fight, but still a 4-for-2 trade in the favor of Boom.
Yep, they get all the kills they want. They slow down JMC because he does die in front. Killing off CTM still pretty big. This widens the gap between Palos and CTM now. Like. So your Terrorblade is going to hit this early Manta timing much faster than CTM is going to hit Echo Saber plus 1 item. And that does mean the Terrorblade is going to have more HP to play with. Again, lots of EHP because of his stat scaling. 22 armor at level 10, plus all the stats you get from the Ultimate Orb, 10 strength. You're going to have a really good time standing front. And that does mean Palos can now start contributing to these fights. He's showing mid, they're going to go for that tier 1 push.
Absolutely. That meta up. Very, very hard to slow this push down here against OB.Neon. Especially while Enryu has the Ravage available. Tier 1 slowly being chipped away at. Hyde, he'll TP in preparation of the defense, but it's only 2 supports thus far. And that tier 1 tower just not going to last. So OB.Neon, they'll get what they wanted. In fact, they might even find more now. FBZ, he's going to be slowed up by a Bing. They haven't got the Arctic Burn, but they may not need it. Gush is there to slow him down. Jamesy trying to get in range. Cookie, no, a great spear away. But the glimpse now, it was on Jamesy anyway. The spear does save the life of FBZ mid-Cookie.
Yeah, just pretty tight.
Yeah, Static Storm's out. Sunray's there, they'll zip in, trying to take down the Tide. Don't forget, he still has Ravage, but he can't get it off in time, or maybe he can. They do cold embrace, the kisses are out. Enryu, he might try to turn here, Tims. He'll try to break the distance, and he'll get out of there scot-free. In fact, never mind, Glimpse back is there, back in onto the Tide, but the spear will not land onto a tree. Zip in again, Enryu, he's completely alone. Won't bother popping the Ravage.
That's actually a pretty big kill. Boom immediately smoked. There's an Orchid flying out for Yopaj. So he's going to be ready to go for this ganking play. And they buy space for CTM to farm up top free. So without threat of Ravage, even if they're lacking Static Storm, they feel confident in this fight.
A bang, nice pick up here. Of course, he does have the curse, but yeah, you can only curse one on their own. It's great positioning there. Again from Boom to make sure they're split, as now bot lane, they found another. Hustler, he's going to try and cookie. Tims might just die here, but no, he's all right. Icarus dives right back out. It's going to be another 2 kills to Boom Esports.
Yeah, they're building up. They're keeping this game on a level field here, Mike. 13-7, less than 1k lead, still riding on OB.Neon. But that is mainly on Palos. So it's all in on the Terrorblade. Your Leshrac farm is kind of falling behind. Your Tide farm is also falling behind. You're trying to rush this BKB on Enryu so he can stand up front and just use the Ravage as need be. That does mean he's going to lack the Blink tool, the Blink initiation to catch Boom while they're clumped up, to catch them before the egg, to catch them before the Static Storm comes in. So I think without that Blink, even with a BKB on the Tide, it's still a pretty tough game. They will smoke up though. OB.Neon, they still have Ravage. They do not have the curse, but Ravage alone might be enough.
Palos is going to show himself. There will be another in the form of Hyde, but like you mentioned, the smoke is coming in. They want to find the storm, and that scan was perfect. Absolutely perfect. As they will both TP out, the smoke will amount to absolutely 0 here for OB.Neon. And Boom Esports, they're going to group, and I think they might go for a smoke of their own, if not just force the defense in that top tier 1 tower. But they are more than ready to try and force a fight here against OB.Neon. Enryu, he's going to show himself early on. Jamesy, he'll start the Diabolic Edict. Boom. They don't really want to start with the Tide. But the problem is if you don't control the Tide, that Ravage might have too much influence. Both teams, though, they're going to back off.
I think Palos realizes he's not going to be able to really do much there. He'd rather farm, rather keep building up in the Terrorblade. So he bails out. There is a good forward ward watching as well. The smoke is not spotted by that ward from OB.Neon, so FBZ still has an angle. He has a blink up.
And he does, FBZ, he wants Jamesy. You don't want the Tide, you want the Leshrac, but he's not within range to get a nice arena off. And now they spot them out, so OB.Neon, they'll run back into the safety of their triangle. With that Boom Esports, they will not pursue any further. I think OB.Neon, very well aware of how the state of the game is going. They just need to keep buying time for Palos. That's about all they need to do right now.
Yeah, and he is getting that space. So I think for Neon, this is a pretty good situation. Sure, you're not finding kills. Neither is Boom. And you are buying space for that TB. FBZ's alone here, though.
He's very far, though. Blink is going to be there, but Jamesy, he's got the Yules up. We'll get the stun as well, but Hyde, Static Storm is going to try and help out FBZ. He's going to go for the team fight. Marina's dropped with the spear. He does drop, but maybe they find Jamesy in return. Ravage has been committed. Gopage, he's been trapped up in the corner now, trying to kill off a Bang, but he's not going to be able to get it. Now he's out of mana. He can't get to the low ground. Curse is out. A Bang setting up. They could go for more. Here is Gopage. He will drop. Tims, he's going to keep trying to fight. A Bang, he's going to drop. Enryu still trying to go onto Hyde, but the glimpse away is there into the cookie. Hustler, great stun out. They'll find the Disruptor, but now CTM, he's going to jump in onto Hustler. They've got the snap fire down. Still a very favorable team fight there for OB.Neon. It was a 2 for 3 with 2 cores going down, and John, they only dropped 2 supports here.
Yeah, it's a lot more scattered from Boom. Their position wasn't ideal. They were playing under a ward. Neon had the vision advantage against Boom there, and they used that well. It was a really good arena from FBC before he died, but the follow-up just didn't come out. We didn't see the egg from Tims. He had no good angle for it. Yopaj zipped from across the map, and he just didn't have the mana to sustain that kind of movement yet. Oh, just the Orchid up is not enough for that kind of big play. And Neon managed to blow a whole open game. 2k lead now, 15 to 10. More time for Palos to be big. More time for the Terrorblade to hit that 25 to 30 minute timing we were talking about. And he's really close to it. Like, the Scotty, second ultimate orb is pretty much done. Just lacking the point booster next. This Terrorblade's going to be really massive. And for Boom, they're going to have to try to angle themselves to catch a TB out in these next few fights. Your item scaling's not the same coming through from Boom. CTM, Maelstrom, Echo Saber. Good items. It's not as insane as Scotty Manta on a TV. So I think that scaling is going to be a bit of an issue. Boom might need to start toning it down and just focus on getting a couple more items up before committing for these bigger clashes now.
Bot lane, zip in, Yopaj, he'll go right in after that curse, or after the Wyvern. Been a real nuisance towards the Storm so far. Enryu gonna get spotted, he'll try for the TP, but Hyde, he's got the glimpse back. FBZ's got a nice arena as he runs around in circles. FBZ, come on mate, you can drop the spear. There you go. Very cocky FBZ on this Mars.
Yeah, it's one of his best heroes, right? And
Yeah.
I can't fault a player for feeling great about playing their best hero in a matchup after how game 1 went for them, which was still an overwhelming win as well. So FBZ just feeling good about himself. Aside of Neon, they lose a couple of heroes. You know, they lose their Tide, which is big, but net worth-wise, not actually that big. Enryu is lower in net worth than even FBZ. He's not worth too much, so I think he's kind of satisfied with that. He didn't have to drop Ravage. He got some information. He caught the gank. And that is still playing into Neon stalling out for the Terrorblade. They will smoke up on Neon's end. Enryu is back up. They could just try to force a fight again.
They're gonna try. This fight could lead to the first Roshan here. When it gets to decide when this Roshan is taken. Hyde, gonna be spotted, does break the smoke. Jamesy, he does get the Yules off in time. Into the split earth. Glimpse back, it's not gonna help. So a nice start to the fight, but the problem is, oh boom, they're under vision. They are under vision right now, but the Ravage is duked out. How does he do that? CTM, he's out of there. They still find FBZ. They should have him. In fact, that was a very interesting curse being committed there by a Peng. Nevertheless, CTM is out scot-free. I suppose you still found a 2 for nothing, so OB.Neon, they should still be okay with this trade.
Yeah, and they don't find the big targets they want, but they are slowing down Boom's pace, punishing them for trying to split push, getting some farm and some risky spots. They don't have the best vision on Boom to be that aggressive. They're Ob's Ward is basically just watching their ramp by the triangle area, nothing across the river. So I think Neon this time are on top of the vision game, managing to use that information well. I think for Boom, it just goes back to kind of taking it slow themselves. You know, wait for these item buildups, wait for Yopaj's BKB. That is a big starting point. It completely negates Leshrak's damage and control, removes the Tide Hunter as a factor, and does allow Yopaj to play that aggressive Storm you know he has. So just need to wait for that item to be up. At that point, you can kind of rally behind that Storm.
Lane in Ryu. He jumped here, Yopaj. He's going to try. There's no way you're killing this Tide, though. He will be perfectly fine, at least for now, but FBZ, he'll spear him back. Maybe they can kill him off. Sunray, Static Storm, everything being dropped. But eventually they'll get him. Nice pickup. Boom, they're not going to try and rush for the Roshan pit yet. They'll leave it be for now. Maybe 1 or 2 more kills than they would have tried for it, but with just the Tide kill, it's not quite enough.
Yeah, it's not enough for them to feel confident. Respawns are still fairly short here as well. Half a minute for Enryu. So even if they start with Roshan, if they don't kill it fast enough, Neon still has an opportunity to fight. They still have to worry about the Winter's Curse as well. And Neon, they're not too dissuaded. Again, Enryu is not a very high value core. They can't afford to sort of sacrifice the Tide as Boom has been sacrificing FBZ. And just keep playing the slow game. Keep building up on the TB. Oh.
Cookie there, they've got Tim's on the Phoenix, but he's got the Icarus dive once again. He just fine, it's now FBZ, quick reactions, rotating in, trying to find Hustler. Spear's gonna land though, onto the Terrorblade, and here comes Yopaj, zipping right through, but the Sunder is gonna be there in time, but it does not matter. It just doesn't matter. Boom Esports, they'll clean up 3. Do they go for Roshan here, John? They are quite far away from the pit, but they've got 40 seconds without the Terrorblade.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the moment to go. You have to be a bit worried because once Neon respawns, you still have Metamorphosis, but 40 seconds is long enough. That's a great double BKB reveal from Boom as well. It plays into that timing we were talking about. Like, Yopaj gets BKB, CTM also goes for the disassembly BKB play, and just immediately rebuys the Echo Saber. So you just manage to hit the spell immunity spike and don't need to worry about anything jumping in. Neon, you're ready to respond though.
Yeah, they've got the Ravage up, but they've got no Blink to initiate. Still Roshan not down yet. They need 7 seconds to the TB, but the Snapfire Kisses are going to fly in. Roshan still not down. Yopaj, he's going to try and do it by himself. Can he actually get this done? No, not quite. Or maybe he can, but no, Jamesy. He does pick it up, and the curse is there just to ensure they're locked down into a massive Ravage from Enryu. They just shred them to pieces. Hyde, he's going to try and run, but there's no running. By Hyde. Almost a complete wipe here against Boom, as the only survivor is going to be Tim's on the Phoenix.
Man, Hustler with the Kisses into the pit really set that up for them. It gave them the vision, it gave them the damage to burn through CTM and Yopaj. They did not have their BKBs off cooldown there. I believe they were a few seconds away from that. So that hasty Roche fight gets punished. There was still good damage coming through from Neon, and they knew without the spell immunity, you just can't fight into Neon as well. So, Boom, gonna have to take a step back. Aegis on the Lesh, best here to have that as well, because you can maximize that second mana pool. And the push is just relentless. They take the mid tier 2, they can shove out top tier 1 into tier 2 as well if they want to, although...
Yeah, FBZ, he's in after the Tide, but Enryu, he's still fine. Meanwhile, a Beng in the backside, gets caught out by Japoi, onto the Tide again, but no. The BKB is there this time, so Enryu, he'll just commit the TP and get the hell out of there, but Palos, he's been left alone. No. He does not have an Aegis either, but Yopaj does not have the Vortex quite yet. Spirit Vessel is there, Palos will force out the BKB, turn back around onto the Storm. Great cookie out, Hustler, he's done it again. He lands another great stun out, onto FBZ they'll go. The Mars dropping very low, Static Storm, it may help out here. They might be able to turn with CTM with the Wukong's command, they'll get down the TP as Jamesy. He'll make his way over. On the Leshrak, he'll try to make something happen. But it's still a 3 for 2 in the end. Hustler, still going to try for a cookie, but not going to make it in time. Though you'd have to argue, John, it seems to be another favorable trade here for OB.Neon.
And they make it work. They get some really good punishment onto Yopaj diving so deep, and he commits his BKB really early in. Like, he used the BKB to jump the Winter Wyvern which meant he had no protection diving the Terrorblade with a Snapfire still on the sideline. I think the BKB used for Boom has to be a bit tighter. It's very easy to punish these heroes once that spell immunity fades. You get so much damage coming through from even just the supports that it can be a massive nuisance for the core. So Neon again finding those openings, making it work. They might be able to take this tier 2 as well, though the respawns are back up for Boom.
Yeah, he's got the Aegis, John. He might be baiting for the team right now, but the Spear is out. They hold him down. Meanwhile, Hustler, he's jumped in, and now the Ravage. It lands on 3 heroes. Back on FBT they go. There goes your Mars. Hyde, he's trying to run, but Jamesy will just chase him to the ends of the earth. CTM, he's going to try and fight this one out, but who do you target? Boundless, it will land onto the Lesh. That'll be the Aegis gone, but now the curse is there. Yopash, he walks right into it. Split Earth is out as well. They've held down the Monkey King. Yopash, he's going to try and save him. He will try his absolute best. CTM, he's out of there for now. But Yopash, no, he'll be fine as well. He has the mana, but for how long? Jamesy, he's diving tier 3 towers now. CTM going to try and help out, but it's not enough. Jamesy's got the damage. Palos gives the tip over, and they're onto the tier 3 bot tower.
Oh, this is scary for Boom. Neon are playing so well compared to game 1. They managed to find the openings. They punish the aggression of Boom. Like, we've seen Boom do this a lot. They love playing aggressive. They love just dragging their bodies forward with very little farm, just forcing these fights. The lineup of OB.Neon are a great foil to that. They just melt the towers after winning fights. Bot rack's completely gone. Mid set to fall as well. With a max edict on the Lush, it doesn't take long with the damage out that they have. And Boom, they have their team fight back up. They've got Static Storm, Arena, Egg ready to go when they respawn, but it's not fast enough. They won't get Megas. There's a tier 2 up top to protect. So Neon can kind of hold back here.
Team's out onto Enryu, but we've seen this before. The Tide just does not die. Especially with the BKB up, it just feels like there's no chance of bursting down this Tide Hunter right now. Definitely a very different game for Enryu. Last game you saw him on that Viper, had a terrible laning start, and just never recovered. This time around, they give him more of a conservative pos 3, I want to say. Certainly working out much, much better.
Yeah, it just... The difference is that Enryu, his lane was still a bit slow, but he just needed to hold on, hit level 6, slowly build up that farm, as we mentioned there, Mike, and you still have impact. Like, down the line, the BKBs will also start to fade, and we have seen Yopash and CTM's BKB use. They have been very trigger-happy with the BKB. They pop it immediately as they jump in. They don't wait for spells to be baited out first, because they know they can't afford to give that window out to Neon. Issue is, their BKB duration isn't enough for them to get the burst off, and I think they are having a bit of a damage issue locking in these cores. They will go for a smoke play. Again, every spell up here for Boom, Mike. They could try to isolate someone and get a kill.
Zip in, again a bang, but he blinks out in time. The Orchid, not quite enough as Jamesy going to move in. The Split Earth, it does land again. They've caught the Storm. Yopash, he'll pop the BKB. He'll keep trying to fight this one out as Hustler. Going to be healed up. Hyde, he is going to get taken down immediately by Jamesy. No problem. It's OB.Neon. Looking for more. Going to find FBZ in the back. The Mars trying to sneak up. Land a nice arena initiation, but it was just never there.
Yeah, and Neon again are just punishing how far Boom is dragging themselves forward. Yopash tries to find the opening, just can't. Like, the Winter Wyvern is the right target, but the Blink is just saving way too much. Very fast fingers on Abeng before any right clicks can come out, and now CTM's all alone up here.
Absolutely, Abeng, he's going to be there. You've got the curse available if you do need to throw it out. CTM, he's going to zone them out with the Wukong's command, but does he have a TP available? He does. They know exactly where he is, and they've got him. Split Earth is there. BKB forced out, but CTM, he's running out of the Wukong's command very soon. Boundless not going to really land either. Great Yule Scepter out from Jamesy, and CTM cops the tips immediately from the side of OB.Neon.
Oh yeah, they're showing up here, Neon. Turned around after a rough first game. Just riding on this huge wave. They've got control of the map. They've got the damage. They've got the late game scaling. Boom. They are several items away from matching these spikes. We're talking about Ags on Storm. We're talking about several items on your Monkey that just aren't close. And I think that's going to be a massive issue for Boom. As Neon, top tier 2 gone, they could go for the Megas here.
Absolutely. I wouldn't blame them for trying. They've got all their ultis up. Yopash. Almost felt like they knew he was there for a second with the way they've turned around. In fact, the Beng is going to get jumped. Yopaj is going to try and get this done by himself. The Vortex out. Egg, not going to be there yet. They'll drop the Sunray first. Into the arena now. Trapping a couple, but they've got the BKBs up. So the initiation's just not there, and now the curse is out. They've got Tims on the Phoenix. He's got the buyback available, and he still has that egg available, but the Ravage has been committed. CTM in big trouble, and he's gone. No buyback available into the Spear FBZ. He'll try to hold back Jamesy, but they're without a position 1 right now as Yopaj. He'll jump back in after the Winter Wyvern. They'll get 1. But Beng's going to commit the buyback. FBZ, he's there with the spear, back onto the left rack. But Jamesy, he's going to survive. In fact, FBZ's the one to drop. Back on Tims, he still has the egg, but he can't find an opportunity. He's forced to fuse it in the fountain just to survive the right clicks of Palos. Back in on Yopaj, he'll try out to Jamesy. Jamesy still trying to run, does eventually go down onto the Icarus dive. Can they find more? They've protected the top racks. Is it enough though? Enryu, back, glimpse back by Hyde, and eventually might just die, but no, the curse is there. Beng, he'll keep the tide alive, and he's back up to half HP now. The man just won't die. They're on to Mega Creeps, into Hyde, into the Phoenix. They want to finish off this game, and it looks like they might have it. Yopaj, he wants to try and stop this right here, right now, but no, the Sunder. Palos, he'll keep Enryu alive. Yopaj still trying his absolute best, but the curse, it's there again. Rather the embrace, Palos being hugged by a Beng, not letting him die, into the BKB and the TP out. They just can't kill him. Beng, he might finally drop and die back. It won't matter, he's had so much impact. Enryu, he's going to be fine. Spear out from FBZ onto Hustler. They may have found another.
Radiant's middle tower.
The zip in from Yopaj will be more than enough. But John, they're against Megas now. Can you see Boom pulling this one back?
It's a toughie. It's a toughie for Boom. I think Neon, they just have this overwhelming net worth lead. They've got the items under Terrorblade. They've got the protection under Leshrac as well to still have this presence in these late fights. Because the BKBs were bought early and used early, they've only got 6-second charges. So it's a very tiny window where Boom can actually do damage and get control. For Boom, what they need to do is perfectly execute these fights. We need to see big arenas with multiple heroes inside, the egg protected by arena outside or inside, depending on the situation. Static Storm on top, and items on their cores. We're talking about, again, Storm Ags here, Mike. Yopaj is queuing it up, still a ways off from it. Absolutely no gold yet. So we're looking at 4.2k gold to farm up. For CTM, the Scotty is still the right move. I think you start to eye stuff like maybe a Basher for control through the BKBs, maybe a Daedalus, some source of damage, because these heroes are tanky. Like Terrorblade with all his armor and HP is just nearly impossible for the Storm and for the Monkey to deal with. The percent damage from Phoenix is still good, but the BKB use of Palos has been on point to cancel off the Sunrays and even the Egg Sunrays as well. So it's just tough for Boom to find an opening. I think they're going to have to depend on Neon maybe slipping up a bit.
Roshan's up, but they want the fight first. Hyde, he was spotted for a second. They've got the dust. He's going to try and run with the Thunderstrike bonus speed, but it's not going to be enough. Nice things to start off this Roshan fight here for OB.Neon. Buyback is there. CTM trying to get the vision. OB.Neon, they have not backed out of the Roshan pick quite yet. They understand how far ahead they are right now. There's really no need to stop as FBZ. He's going to jump in, but he has not got Palos. Arena and Spear both down now. In fact, his BKB is also gone. And the fight becomes infinitely harder. You're looking at Yopaj to try and go for a big Roshan steal, I think. So I'm not sure if they can really force a 5v5 team fight. Hyde, very far forward. He just brought back Hyde. He might be going right back to the graveyard. The kisses, they're going to come in from a mile away. And he has died back immediately as CTM. He's going to BKB and try to fight this. It's not looking great. Yopaj, he'll go into the back line. He just wants the Winter Wyvern, but they've lost their POS 1 Monkey King. It's not looking good. Yopaj, he's just going to zip away and TP the hell out, but the GG's been called. And OB.Neon, after such a devastating game 1, managed to turn it back their way and tie out the series against Boom Esports.
Yeah, it's a great way for Neon to close out. You know, I forgot to mention this early on, but it is also Palos' birthday, so that's the shout out right there. Happy birthday to Palos. Great way to close out the series. A great win for Neon. They hold out. They fixed their draft. I think their game 1 issue was mainly on draft. They had this very inactive off lane. They had supports that couldn't contribute to fight outside of their Nyx. The Enchantress didn't have a running start as you needed to have that early impact. And this time around, they had Enryu on the Tide. They've always had Ravage to play with. They had this really good start on the left track from Jamesy. He held his lane really well up against Yopaj and just built up. And he bought so much space for Palos. Like, he had a very even lane, transitioned to jungle, just farmed his mind out while the rest of the team was fighting. And their win condition just scaled so much better. CTM, Yopaj, they were joining in all of these early fights for support kills, maybe a Tide kill or two, but Enryu wasn't a high priority target. He just wasn't worth all that commitment. And OB.Neon does manage to make that space work out for them.
Certainly so. Of course, with that, Jonathan, we are going to move on to our next series of the night. It is going to be NGX, Nigma Galaxy C against Execration. Obviously, two teams that are kind of the fan favorites here as well, but you love to see these two teams against each other. Very excited to see how this one pans out. We are going to head to, I think, a 15-minute break, and right after that break, we're going to be back with our second series of the night.